Hello everyone, welcome back to my lecture series on Hindu law. In the first unit videos, we discussed about the sources of Hindu law and then schools in Hindu law and some historical evidences on Hindu law. And in this video, I'm going to cover marriage and kinship, which details out unit 2 of your syllabus. Entire videos on Hindu law is based on the textbook written by Dr. Rakesh Hainapur titled Hindu Law, which is available on Amazon, Flipkart, and Vision Bookstore. You can also download this from Google Play Store and Amazon Kindle. As part of Unit 2, we will be discussing all these points. What is marriage and kinship, evolution of institution of marriage and family, laws prior to Hindu Marriage Act, and then we will start a detailed study on Hindu Marriage Act 1955, where we will see the valid conditions for Hindu marriage and then matrimonial remedies in case of any uh, misunderstanding, then maintenance and alimony. Also, we will discuss Dowry Prohibition Act in detail at the end. And to end the sessions, we will also go through case laws related to above topics and some and recap the discussions whatever we are doing in next 2 to 3 videos on marriage and kinship. And we will also go through questions from previous examinations. With this brief introduction, let's start our discussion on marriage and kinship. Marriage, as we know that man and woman coming together to live together for happy life for companionship. Okay. And kinship is all about blood relations and family members and everything. So this entire chapter or a unit talks about marriage and kinship related topics. Okay. Marriage, we know, as I told in the beginning itself, it is a uh, union between man and woman. This is required to regulate the social life, not only a physical connection, it is also required to regulate the social life. And it is very important from an Hindu's perspective. Marriage is a sacred activity. It is a sacred activity. It is a samskara and sacramental. Okay, it is marriage is looked in a divine sense in Hindu laws. Sorry, from an Hindu's perspective, it is a sacramental. What is sacramental? Sacramental means it is a permanent and indissoluble. Marriage is permanent and it is indissoluble, and they are looking it from a more divine perspective as a samskara. Okay, and in Hindus, there is a great feeling that if a man without a spouse will be considered as a leafless tree. To perform lot of programs or functions, husband and wife should work like they have to sit together. So that's why in Hindus, marriage has become more and more divine in nature, and it is a samskara in nature. It is not only a legal contract. Okay, but whatever it is from a global perspective, it required from a social life, regulating a social life. But from a Hindu's perspective, it is a more from a divine perspective, and it is a sacramental. It will be there for permanent and indissoluble. Okay. So marriage has gone through a different stages from the beginning to now. In a different countries, it will be treated, and different religion, it will be treated as a different way of life. But whatever it is, at the end, marriage is a more of a companionship, irrespective of any social, religious, or a cultural dimension. It is a social. It is like a companionship between a husband and wife, or a man and woman who will do a journey together for a longer time, and also helps in building the society. Okay, and it is required for having a proper societal structure. In Hindus, in the earlier years, there are marriages were classified into two different forms. One is a regular forms of marriage, and another one is irregular forms of marriage. We will see irregular forms of marriage later. Within regular forms of marriage, the first one was Brahmaka, where bride's father inviting the groom and giving his daughter with a single robe to a Vedic scholar. Daiva marriages, where bride is adorned with the ornaments and being given to a priest as a gift. Arsha marriage, it where bride's father accepting cows from the groom and in exchange he will give a bride. Prajapatya is a marriage where the girl's father addresses the couple, giving the bride to the groom and in the public. Okay. So Brahmaka, Daiva, Asha and Prajapatya were regular forms of marriages during earlier days. There were few irregular forms of marriages. Asura marriage, where the groom receives bride by paying the money. It is something like a marriage or by sale. So it was considered as irregular. Gandharva marriages are love marriages, which are again considered as irregulars. But in a Varna system, it was okay for Vaishyas and Shudras. We know there are four Varnas: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So, for Vaishyas and Shudras, it was Gandharva marriages were considered as regular, but for all Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, it was considered as irregular. Then the third one is a Rakshasa form of marriage where forcibly abducting a girl or a bride and getting in marriage relationship. It was okay for Kshatriyas and military classes, but not for other three classes of society. And then last one is a Paisachika, where it is a seduction of a girl in a sleeping or unconscious state. So this is a Paisachika and it is a irregular forms of marriage. Please note that all these marriage forms were written as part of Hindu scriptures. It is nothing to do with Hindu law which is prevailing. We will see in section 7 what all are the valid marriages and other thing details in section 7 when we get into a Hindu Marriage Act. According to Hindu's text, following are the key, what I say, conditions for valid marriage. Earlier days, identification of caste was one of the most critical requirement for valid marriages. Same caste marriages were considered to be an valid marriages, but there were instances where intercaste marriages used to happen. Those can take into two forms. One is pratiloma marriages, and the another one is anuloma marriages. Pratiloma marriage is a place where male belonging to a lower caste and female belonging to a upper caste are getting married. These are considered as invalid during those days. But conversely, Anuloma marriages where the male is from upper caste and female from a lower caste is deemed accepted. Okay. So caste is one of the important criteria. Pratiloma marriages are not accepted but invalid. And Anuloma marriages where male is from upper caste and female is from lower caste is accepted. Okay. This is all about castes. Then monogamy, practicing of monogamy is important where there should not be any living spouse when the marriage happens. So single wife or a single. So that's an important aspect of in the Hindu law from the beginning. Then Sapinda relationship. Sapinda relationship is all about no marriages should happen but from the same ancestors. If the boy and girl are from same ancestor. So like grandparents are here, parents, and then parents, cousins here. So, and then kids. So, as long as the whole family from the same ancestors, it should not be get married. So, it is a important aspects of in the relationship. Otherwise, uh, it is uh, it is not a valid marriage. Then prohibited degree of relationship. There are many relationships within a family circle, right? Those are considered as prohibited. For example, relationship, marriage between father and daughter, mother and son, siblings. Okay, all these things are considered as prohibited. Even thus, what is the difference between Sapinda and the prohibited degree of relationship? Sapinda is also one of the part of prohibited degree of relationship. Here, the various other relationships are extended, like a father and daughter, mother and son, etc., is also given with examples. Then prohibition of Sagotra and Sapravara. Okay, so we it is a use of gotras is very common in Hindus. So within the same gotra, if a person belongs to a one gotra, he should not marry a girl from the same gotra. It is beyond the Sapinda relationship. If girl and boys are from the same gotra, it assumes that they all are from the same ancestor from a long years. So that is was also another condition for valid marriages. And conducting a marriage ceremony and saptapadi and all other things are also conditions for valid marriages. These are again not from Hindu law perspective. This is all from old Hindu texts. Okay. Prior, uh, uh, prior introducing a Hindu Marriage Act in 1955, there were many laws and many customary practices were in practice in India. To avoid all the confusion, Hindu Marriage Act was brought in 1955. Okay. Prior to that, what was the people, like what is that people were using? People were using ancient texts like Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Dharma Shastras, and customary practices, and whatever that is elders says, right? The family hereditary and other things, those things used to be followed by most of the Hindus. Apart from that, Apart from that, there was Indian Act Contract Act of 1872, which used to talk about consent and capacity. The parties to a marriage should have a proper capacity, and there should be a free consent for marriage. So you will be knowing about these topics in your Contract Act sessions. And there was a Special Marriage Act of 1872 for interfaith marriages. And then there was a Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929, where child marriage age was restricted to 14 years for women and 18 years for men. And Hindu Widows Remarriage Act 1856 was there, and then Indian Succession Act 1925. Okay, now Hindu Marriage Act covers all the topics related to our marriages and then remedies in case of any conflicts. So why Hindu Marriage Act was brought in? Basically, there was a big need for reforming the marriage laws in India because marriage was or like more of a family practices and other things. There was no standardized rules across India and give some legal recognition for a marriages to protect the interest of both the parties, especially to protect the women rights. uh, in case of marriages, if any conflicts happen, right, women should be protected in that way. Protecting one woman was another important goal to give a to start a Hindu Marriage Act or to introduce a Hindu Marriage Act, and then the codification of Hindu marriages. It was the Hindu laws earlier prior to this were not codified. It was like your law of torts. So now it is a codified law. And it also focused on ensuring equality. And then it talks about marital rights and divorce in case of conflict. So these are the key purposes why Hindu Marriage Act was introduced. And in the next video, we will discuss in detail about Hindu Marriage Act and key sections. What are the conditions for valid marriages and uh, what are the conditions for valid marriages and other remedies in case of any conflicts between husband and wife. All those things in detail we will see from next video onwards. Thank you so much, and I request you to share this video with your friends. Please subscribe this channel. That keep motivates me to upload all the lectures for Hindu law and other law papers. Thank you so much.